My first time filming outside. I just got these new mics. Hopefully they don't give me any trouble, because that's always the case often. But I thought I'd show you guys some scenery. This is Curl Beach in the northern beaches of Sydney. So in this video I want to talk to you guys about the concept of the old self, and I want to do it in a way that you guys can actually understand it and not think that I'm just talking about some spiritual nonsense, because if there's one thing I've learned in the last 6 months to a year, it's that this concept of the old self is actually so true. I also want to talk about how understanding the old self, being aware of it and knowing how to work with it, might just be the gateway to the life you want to live and becoming the version of yourself you want to be. The old self comes up when you're trying to grow, in short. So when we talk about self, I'm not going to get too much into this can be for another video, but who we are is a collection of how we think, feel and act most consistently, which creates our vibration, which is who we are internally. And this is governed by our beliefs that we have about ourselves, and our beliefs that we have about ourselves create our perception of the world. And that's how we see the world. So that is our reality. Our beliefs essentially are our reality. And our beliefs are also subconscious, so we need to remember that there is no such thing as a good or a bad belief, because the subconscious mind doesn't work through that, because good and bad is a human construct. Everything just is to the subconscious mind. So we might think to ourselves, well, why is it so hard to get rid of a negative belief? It's because it's not negative. But what it is to you, it's everything you've known. Your beliefs are everything you've known, they're your reality. So when you decide to grow, you want to elevate, you want to become a new version of yourself, people talk about how you have to kill the old you, or the old you has to die, which is painful. How this works is, when you make a jump to try and grow, so I'll just explain it in a way that's relatable to my situation. So I took myself to Australia a few months ago, completely on my own, and through doing that, as great as it's been, it's come with so many challenges, because it's really shown me every single area of my life that I need to work on. And it's really showing me where I've held myself back. I said to myself that if I was going to live the life that I wanted to live out here, I couldn't carry those old beliefs. Meaning I can't carry that old self with me. It's not going to get me anywhere. So at some point, I have to get rid of these beliefs. I have to start working on them. What will happen is this. Your old self will do anything it can to stop you from evolving, because it doesn't want to die. So anytime you challenge an old belief, it might be an old insecurity, it might be a belief, might be a limiting belief you have about your self-worth, how you view yourself. Every time you challenge that and you move forward, you are going to be met with this insecurity of yours screaming. And this, for most people, is enough to stop you from doing it. For example, when I first started posting content, I got into it, I started posting videos, and not long after I stopped, because that voice got in my head. That voice, that insecurity that I've always had, that told me, hey, Will, you're not that guy, people are laughing at you, no one wants to hear this. I was focusing on that, I was externalizing that, and eventually that was enough for me to stop completely, because I believed it. Now, I believe that posting content, not for the sake of posting content, but I believe that I am here to help people. I am here to spread this message. I'm here to make sure that people find me and find my message so that it can help them through everything they're going through. That was always my intention. So this time round, I've had to accept that the only reason I stopped last time was because of a belief I had about myself. No one else was saying the things that I said. And even if they were, it was my own belief that had the final say. You need to understand this about the old self. The old self knows you better than anyone, because it is you. And not only does it know you better than anyone, but the beliefs that have built the old self is what the old self has survived on. So when you want to take a step to improving your life, and therefore becoming that next version of yourself, once again, you are going to be met with all of it, because it knows exactly what to say. It knows exactly what to say to keep you where you're at, to stop you from evolving, to stop you from moving forward. So once you can identify that these are your own beliefs, you can actually start working with it. Once you know that this is purely coming from you and you're the one that's giving it power, then you can start to work with it. So it wasn't the mics that nerfed us in the end, it was the storage. Proving to you the amateur I am at this, but that's not going to stop me. And just while we were on this subject, actually, I was thinking while I was prattling around with my storage just then, is people around, there have been people around, there's people around me watching me filming myself, for instance. There's a voice in my head, that voice is there, saying all the things you can imagine. Oh, what are these people thinking? What you're doing, you know, everyone's watching you. And the reality is, they're just not. Guys, they're just not. You cannot hear their voices. It's your own voice. And this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. All that voice is going to do is stop you from getting to where you want to go, because that old you does not want you to evolve, because it does not want to die. It's as simple as that. So learning to listen to these voices, learning to understand yourself, and understanding how all these voices are here for is to get in the way of your growth, means that you can start to reverse engineer it for your own growth. You can start to look at, okay, where do I want to be? And what's actually holding me back? And what will be holding you back will be your beliefs. So then you need to look at the version of yourself you want to be and really hold them in your head and think how important it is for you to become that version, and think, okay, if the only thing stood between me and that version is other people's opinions, which is your own, other people's beliefs about you, which is your own, other people's criticism, your perfectionism, then you have to ask yourself, what's more important? What's more important, to cling on to these old beliefs, to cling on to this old you that isn't getting you anywhere? Or to actually say, do you know what, I'm going to move forward anyway, because it's more important to me to become the version of myself that I've always wanted to be, than to keep listening to that voice, which once again is yours anyway, no one else's. I think you guys get what I'm trying to say, but I hope the right person can find this message. I hope this message finds the right person. And just try and take what you can from what I say, apply it to your life. I don't say this to preach, I don't say this to be on my high horse because I think I'm better than everyone. I say this because I'm going through this all in real time. I'm learning this in real time, and that's what I want to make unique about my channel. I'm not some self-improvement guy who's acting perfect, who's acting like he doesn't put a foot wrong. I'm talking from my own learning, which has for the most part been my own mistakes or my own failures.